also a failed bungee jump survivor. Not a lot of guys get to say that, okay? That's kind of a small niche I've created for myself at this point in my life. But tonight I want to share with you what happened to me. But more importantly, I want to share with you all the greatest lessons I've learned since that day. But November the 23rd of 2013 was a Saturday. I woke up bright and early that morning. I drove to a little town up in northern Missouri called Chillicothe, a great little community, up there for their holiday parade. So Casey Wolf's in the parade, Santa Claus is in this parade, a whole bunch of horses are in this parade. Every horse in Chillicothe had eaten a whole bunch of fiber the day before that parade too, I found out as I tried to walk down Main Street. But once I get done with the parade, I get back in my car and drive back to Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, where I was going to practice a stunt that I was going to perform the next day at the Chiefs game. We were going to play the San Diego Chargers, they're now the LA Chargers, and I was going to bungee jump and zip line into our stadium. Now, how that works is we hire a company that comes in and they set up a zip line, okay? Zip line attaches to the lights at the top of the stadium, stretches all the way across the field to the lights on the other side of the stadium, and then they attach a bungee cord to that zip line, okay? Sounds perfectly safe, right? That's what my wife said too. Now, I know it's kind of hard to understand, so I'm going to show you a short video. Don't get nervous. This is not me getting hurt, but this will give you an idea of what I was doing on the day I did get hurt. Now, best part of the video at the end, you'll see what it looks like 260 feet above the football field at Arrowhead Stadium. So, let's run that video. Doesn't that look like fun? Like above the top. I love watching your faces, by the way. You know, there's always a handful that are out there smiling, thinking that looks kind of fun. There's always a whole lot of people looking at me thinking, that guy's an idiot, right? But the plan is for me to dress up in my costume, jump out of the lights at the top of the stadium. That day I was supposed to fall for about 20 feet. The bungee cord was supposed to catch me, bounce me back into the air, and then I was going to zip line out over the field like you just watched in the video. So, supposed to be the greatest mascot entrance ever. Well, unfortunately that day things did not go as planned, because when I jumped out of the lights, because of the slack that they still had in the zip line, instead of falling 20 feet, I fell approximately 70 to 75 feet, and I hit the seats in the upper level of our stadium. I hit the seats so hard I knocked 2 seats out of the concrete. So if you ever go to Arrowhead, swing by section 324, row 32, seats 22 and 23. Those look a little bit newer. That was me, okay? But after I hit, I still remember, I guess my body went into shock. I was just shaking. My whole body was shaking. I couldn't stop. I was really struggling to breathe. And I'll be honest, at the time, I was scared. I just wanted to get down. Well, unfortunately, if your bungee cord is attached to a zip line, there's no way to get down halfway through the ride, okay? It's like a roller coaster. So if you go to a theme park, get on a roller coaster, you're not getting off the roller coaster until it comes to a stop. Well, same was true for me. I jumped out of the lights, I fall, I hit the seats. At that point, the bungee cord yanked me back into the air, and then I started to zip line out over the field like you just watched in the video. Now, I wish I had time tonight to share with you all the details of what happened and how I can look back on this, and trust me, I've thought about this so many times since it's happened, but the fact that I'm still here, okay, the fact that I'm alive, I get to come to SEMO tonight and share my story makes me extremely grateful, okay? Now, I'm just going to warn you tonight, sometimes in life when you're extremely grateful for something, like the fact that you're still alive, you know what will happen? Sometimes that'll make your eyes water. Okay, and that's a good thing, because somebody told me once, if your eyes don't water, your head will swell. Think about that. So, but I gotta make a long story shorter tonight. So I tell you, I got to do something that day that was never on my bucket list. I got to ride really fast in the back of an ambulance. Okay, they took me straight to the hospital. As soon as I get there, there's all these doctors and nurses. They wheel me in, they start doing CAT scans, x-rays. They're checking me out head to toe and inside out. And here's what they discovered. They found I had broken 7 ribs on my left side, and I'd also collapsed my left lung. That's why I was struggling to breathe, as my left lung had collapsed. Now, I don't know if you've ever collapsed a lung. How they fix that, they give you a chest tube. I don't know if you've had one. Don't put those on your bucket list either, because here's what I do remember. A doctor looked at me and said, Mr. Mears, it's just a small tube. We're going to insert it into your chest cavity. And he said, and I quote, you might feel a little bit of pressure. Oh, well, apparently that guy had never had a chest tube in his life, because it is a lot more than a little pressure going in and coming back out. But not only had I broken 7 ribs, collapsed my lung, they also found I shattered my tailbone. I cracked my sacrum, the bone your tailbone attaches to. I got a big gash on the back of my left leg here that required stitches. And then I got several units of blood because I'd lost a lot of blood after hitting the seats. But then my worst injury, they discovered I'd broken the T12 vertebrae in my back. And the next day I had surgery, and they gave me these new titanium rods. Here's a picture of my x-ray right there. That's what those rods are what now stabilize my spine. And they also gave me 8 of these. And I don't know if you can see that from where you're sitting. You can see those in the x-rays. These are the screws that hold my rods in place back there. Now, if you look at that, it looks like something you can pick up over at the local hardware store. Apparently, these are a little more expensive than the ones they sell at the hardware store currently. But here's what I remember most about that night of November the 23rd of 2013. Here's a picture of what I looked like. And you probably think you don't look very good. Well, I didn't feel very good that night either. But what I remember most, the doctor walked into this hospital room. He told me all my injuries, explained I was going to have surgery the next day on my back. He's walking out of this room. He gets to the door. He turned around and he looked at me. And I'll never forget his words. He said, Mr. Mears, he said, I hope you realize tonight you are a very, very lucky man. He said, if you fell 75 feet, he said, number 1, you're lucky to still be alive. He said, number 2, you're very lucky you're not paralyzed right now. And, you know, that night in that hospital bed, I thought a lot about what that doctor said. You know, I thought about my life. You know what I thought a whole lot about that night is how I was choosing to spend my coin each and every day. And tonight, I just want to share with you quickly what I consider some of the greatest lessons I've learned since that night in the hospital. And these lessons I'm committed to living life by from here on out. And let me start by saying this, you guys. I don't believe I'm lucky to be alive, okay? I do believe I'm blessed. You see, I don't believe in luck. I don't even... Look, I don't even believe what happened to me was an accident. You see, in the back of my Bible, I've got another quote. It says this, there is no such thing as accidents. They're all just incidents in God's perfect plan for my life. And that's what I do believe. Now, does that mean God doesn't love me because he allowed something painful to happen in my life? That's not what that means at all. You see, I know God loves me. I read it again this morning when I got out of bed, okay? There's no doubt in my mind he loves me. You know what else I know? I know he loves me too much to allow needless pain in my life. And so even though I didn't like this pain, I knew God must have a purpose behind it, or he would have never allowed it into my life. And you know, that's one of the big lessons I learned through this time is sometimes God will allow us to go through challenging times, painful situations, struggles in life. We always look at that as something negative, when in reality, God can use those times in your life to teach you some incredibly valuable lessons if you'll allow him to do that. And you know, one of the big lessons he taught me is something my mom tried to tell me in high school, and guess what? I didn't think she was that smart at the time. Then come to find out she's a little smarter than I gave her credit for. But I remember my mom used to always tell me and my 2 brothers that the most important things in life are not things. The most important things in life are relationships. And you know what? Come to find out my mom's a pretty smart gal, because as I spent 9 days in a hospital bed, not one time did I think about how big my house was. Not once did I think about how nice my car was or whether I had the latest smartphone or not. You know, not once did I think about whether I had the latest fashion clothes either. As a matter of fact, for 9 days I wore the same outfit, that hospital gown. And I'll tell you, it was not fashionable. It was well ventilated, I will say that. You ever seen those hospital gowns? You ever got to wear one? You know what they say about wearing a hospital gown? It's kind of like owning a bad health insurance policy. You only think you're fully covered, right? Not true to that. I remember right after surgery, they try to get you up and start walking pretty quick. I found out why they called it the ICU at the hospital. Got that next photo? There we go. Yeah, there's a guy. What's wrong with that thing? Hey, you backstage. There we go. That's it. I want you guys to know, my wife hates that slide right there, and I love it. And, she didn't come with me, so I put it back in tonight. But you know, you can go back to that hospital shot again now. We don't want to look at that all night long. But hey, listen, you spend 9 days in the hospital, you get a lot of time to lay and think. And it was during those 9 days I was reminded over and over again that the most meaningful things in my life, it's not my things, it's not my stuff. You know what helped me get through 9 days in a hospital and then 6 months of very painful therapy and rehab, just day after day after day? 3 things: my faith, my family, and my friends. And guess what? All 3 of those things, those are all relationships. My faith, that's my relationship with the Lord. You know, I tell this to folks all the time. My goal as a man, every day I get out of bed, listen, it never changes, okay? My goal is the same every single day. Get up, go out, love other people. Not judge others, that's kind of easy to do. Go out and love other people. That's not easy to do, because how many of you know this? Some people in this world are hard to love. Okay? Don't act like you don't have those people in Southeast Missouri. And if you don't, come back to Kansas City. I'll introduce you to a few. Okay?
I will definitely go to Kansas City.
Listen, one of these days when my life story is complete, you know, when people are sitting at my funeral, I could care less if they know I was in the Mascot Hall of Fame or not. You didn't even know there was a Mascot Hall of Fame, did you? Yeah, nobody does. Guys, I could care less if we know how many years I spent as a mascot for the Chiefs or how many Super Bowls I may have gone to. Did I mention we had won the Super Bowl? Did I show you guys my Super Bowl ring here? This is actually Casey Wolf's Super Bowl ring right here. So when I got my Super Bowl ring, we took a bunch of pictures, sent it off to a 3D printer, and this is what came back. So if you wonder what Super Bowl 54 ring looks like, that Super Bowl 57, that one's getting made right now. But Super Bowl 54 ring looks just like this. And I'll tell you a quick funny story. When I brought my Super Bowl ring home for the very first time from the stadium, all 3 of my kids were there that day. And my kids were like, Dad, that thing is really cool. Because if you've got to see one of the real ones, they're big, they're gaudy, and they're cool, okay? But my kids are like, Dad, you got to keep doing your job until you get 3 of those, or we're all going to fight over that when you die someday. And I'm like, I told them, I'm like, you fight over it, I'll give it to your mom's next husband. That'll teach all that. But, you know, Andy Reid, he's always going to be my favorite football coach. But like I said, you guys, on the day of my funeral, I could care less if I was in the Hall of Fame, how many years I spent as a mascot for the Chiefs, how many Super Bowls. Because on that day, I don't want to be remembered for what I did. How I hope to be remembered on that day is for who I was. And if the only thing people ever say about my life is that I love the Lord and I love people, I'm good with that. Okay? That's how I hope to be remembered someday. But that's my faith. Secondly, it's my family, my wife, my kids, my parents, my in-laws. I'm just blessed to have a great family to support me through those difficult days. And then finally, friends from my neighborhood, my church, my co-workers, my teammates, just so many great people that were there to support me. And hey, let me just challenge you tonight too. As you decide how to spend your coin each and every day, I challenge you to make relationships a priority. Because if you're going through a difficult time in life, and a lot of people still are, listen, it's your relationships are what gets you through the difficult times. And even if you're not going through a difficult time, if you're here tonight and everything is good in your world, and I hope it is, hey, here's what I've learned. On the good days and those not so good days, it's my relationships, you know, my relationship with the Lord, my relationship with others. That right there is what gives my life meaning. That's what gives my life purpose. And never forget this little piece of mascot wisdom. It's the banana that gets separated from the bunch. That's the first one that gets eaten. Just eat it. Yeah. Don't think too hard about that tonight, okay? That just means life's a team sport. We need each other, okay? Hey, let me share with you one last lesson I learned after I got hurt. I learned this in January of 2014, this is a couple months after my bungee jump, I'm on my way to another physical therapist appointment. I don't know if you've ever been there. Your athletes probably have. I used to call him my physical terrorist. If you've been there, you know why. But on my way to another appointment, I'm feeling sorry for myself. I don't know if you've ever lived with pain. I still live with pain as a result of my accident. And listen, it's no fun. You don't get a vacation from it. It'll wear you out physically, emotionally. A lot of days are discouraging. Once in a while, you get days that are flat out depressing. And it's one of those days I'm driving to another appointment, having a pity party. Those never work, by the way, so just save your time. And I'm listening to the radio station. This radio personality comes on, and he says this. He says, every morning that you wake up, everybody's got something to complain about. Everybody's got something to be thankful for. He said, whichever one you choose to focus on will determine your attitude for the day. And I still remember I was sitting in my car and I'm like, you know what? I think I've learned a valuable lesson right there. I learned that, I guess I could sit and complain about my 7 broken ribs, or I could choose to be thankful. I had 17 good ones that weren't broken yet, right? That could always be worse, I realized I could complain about my collapsed left lung that still wasn't back to normal. I wasn't sure what was going on because I couldn't see it, but something wasn't right. Or I could be thankful God gave me 2 lungs. My other one worked just fine. Okay? I realized I could complain about all the new scars I have on my body, or I can be thankful if I can keep my pants and shirt on like I'm supposed to. Nobody gets to see those scars, right? It's not like I'm a Chippendale, I'm a mascot, right? I wouldn't have made the Chippendale Hall of Fame. And I need to go ahead and tell you this tonight. That picture I showed you earlier, that was photoshopped. Okay? I really don't look like that with my shirt off, okay? That day I wanted to complain that once again I woke up with all this pain again, my back, my tailbone, my ribs, but for the first time since my bungee jump, I actually stopped that day, and I told God thanks for my pain. And by the way, that's hard to do. I think I'm pretty good about saying thank you for my many blessings. Saying thank you for pain is hard, but I did. I thanked him because I realized if I couldn't feel pain, I'd be dead or I'd be paralyzed. And then I thought about that, death, paralysis, pain. Guess what? I get the best one out of the 3. Mother Teresa once said this. She said, it's okay to have pain in your life. It's not okay to be one. I love that quote. Yeah, that quote reminds me every day. It's okay if I've still got a pain in my rear. It's not okay for me to be a pain in your rear. Right? I bet you got a few pains in your rear in life. Don't look at each other right now. I tell people, I feel best when I'm active. So you come to a Chiefs game next year, we start in a month and a half, I think, is our first game. So you come to a Chiefs game this season, you see the Wolf running around down on the field doing his thing. Trust me, I feel a whole lot better than if I sit around. If I sit around, everything tightens up, everything hurts again. Now, here's the bad thing about sleep. It's not a lot of activity. It's lying flat on your back for 7 or 8 hours. So, every morning I wake up with this pain again before I get up and do my little stretching routine. Helps out a little bit. Most people wake up, drink a cup of coffee. Not me. I'll wake up and roll around on the floor trying to get my back to loosen up a little. But, every morning I get out of bed, I realize I get to make a choice. And by the way, you get to make this exact same choice. But when my alarm goes off, I realize I can choose to rise and shine, or I can choose to rise and whine. And you know what? I don't want to be a whiner, because whiners don't make a positive impact in this world. Whiners do not have a positive influence in the lives of others. And, one thing I've learned about this life is that life is a contact sport. You will learn that. A couple months ago, my wife was diagnosed with a health condition. And so now she's doing the treatments. All her hair is falling out. That's okay. I think she's beautiful, whether she got hair or not. Sheila, ever since we found out about this, every morning I wake up now, and there's this heaviness. There's a heaviness. And I walk past my dresser, and on that dresser, I always picture 2 bags. I got a bag of burdens, and I got a bag of blessings. They're both sitting there every morning. And every morning, I get to decide which of those 2 bags I pick up. You know what I've discovered the last couple months? If I'm intentional and I pick up my bag of blessings, that decision right there affects all my other decisions throughout the day. And you know what? We're going to get through this challenge just like we've got through every other challenge in our life. Faith, family, and friends. And today you've heard me talk to you about how your life's like a coin. Guys, you get to spend it any way you wish. That's exciting. You're only spending it one time, so spend it wisely. It reminds me of one other thing that my parents taught me as a kid growing up. They'd always say, your life's like your finances. Okay, you can do one of two things with money. You can spend it or you can invest it. Money you spend, you will never see that again. But money you invest, that's wise. That's eventually going to multiply and return to you. When you think about it, hey, we're all going to do the same thing with our lives. You are either spend it or you're going to invest it. A life that's just spent selfishly, that is wasted. But a life that's invested in helping others, encouraging others, serving others, listen, that right there is going to bear fruit for a long, long time. And so my challenge to you athletes is take your coin and be an investor, not only with your money, more importantly with your life. Take your coin and invest it by living every day you get. Live it with purpose, live it with passion, live it with character. You know, take your coin and invest it by making relationships a priority. Finally, take your coin and invest it. Learn to live like a shiner and not like a whiner. Because I believe we put those things into practice. Our homes, our schools, our communities, this world's going to be a better place for all of us to live. So, I want to thank my friends from Subway for giving me an extra napkin with my football turkey sandwich for lunch today. I'll wrap up with this. I will share with you one more lesson I learned after I got hurt. You probably know this now that we've been through COVID together, is there's nothing good on daytime television. Did you know that? I was losing my mind, okay? I'd go to my physical therapy appointment, I'd come back home, I searched around looking for anything, couldn't find anything. So what do you do if you're off work for 6 months, you didn't have anything to do? I thought, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna write a book. So I did. Wrote a book called Wolves Can't Fly, since I proved that wolves cannot fly. This book's all about my career as a tiger, a bird, a wolf, places I've been all over the world, people I've met, crazy mascot stories. I could stand here all day and tell you crazy mascot stories. I've walked 5 women down the aisle on their wedding day, dressed in a costume. I've been best man in 10 or 11 weddings, and I didn't even know who the groom was. I was his best man, wore a wolf suit, wearing a tuxedo, holding a ring in my paw. Last year I checked a new one off my list. I got to be the flower girl. Got the crown petals going. Oh, yeah. If you got the money, I got the time. I tell you. And telling the story about what happened to me November 23rd, 2013, all the lessons I've learned since that time. But I tell people the reason I promote the book, whenever I go speak at conferences and stuff around the country, I do not make a dime off the book. All the money we make off book sales, we give away to charity. We do a lot of work with homeless shelters and orphanages. And I just want to close tonight by showing you a couple of quick pictures of places that we've been able to help support with book funds. Let me get to that. That's me again, that's the side of my head. There we go. This right here, this is an orphanage in Haiti. One of the greatest trips I ever took is right after the doctor said, you're strong enough now, you're healthy enough, you can wear a costume again. Took a trip to Haiti to work at this orphanage, learned another great lesson. When I was doing all the therapy and rehab, I spent most of my time at home. Spend all your time at home, you start to live in a small world. You live in a small world, all your problems seem huge. You go to a place like Haiti, work in an orphanage where they don't have hot water, don't have air conditioning, you sleep under a mosquito net on a really uncomfortable bed. All of a sudden your world starts to get big. You live in a big world, that'll put your own problems in perspective in a hurry. But that's one place we help support. This is a village in the Philippines. A lot of their kids were getting sick because they didn't have clean water, so we went there and helped them build a well in that community. And then this right here, a little closer to home, that's Shop with a Cop. That's my cop outfit, but we donate money so underprivileged students can buy Christmas gifts for their families at Christmas time. This right here, we help support one of the local homeless shelters in Kansas City. I teamed up with a school and we collected 16,500 rolls of toilet paper. Okay, COVID didn't start the shortage. We did that in Kansas City. Did that for a homeless shelter. And then a couple more quick ones. This is a leper colony in India. We were in India, so had an extra day, so just spent one day just trying to love on those people, be a blessing in their lives. The reason we were in India is we helped support several orphanages there too. Also got to have some fun in India. Got to ride a camel in a wolf outfit. Had so much fun on the camel. I rode the elephant too while I was there. And then my most recent trip, got to take a trip to Africa. This is a school in Africa that's starting a feeding program that we're blessed to get to be a part of. And I'll tell you my favorite thing about the trip. The students you see in the picture, they've never seen white people. And if they've never seen a white guy, I promise they've never seen anything that looked like this come off in the village either. So fascinating trip. And then 2 more quick ones. This is the girls' orphanage in the Dominican Republic that we help support. And my favorite picture picture from almost any trip I've ever taken is this one right there. As a matter of fact, I liked that picture so much, I wrote another book. I called it Mascot on a Mission, Living a Life of Influence. I used that picture as a cover shot. I'll close with this tonight, because I probably talked longer than I was supposed to. But you know what? I drove a long way to get here. So I'm not going to apologize. I want to close with this, you guys. Can I be honest with you? I don't like writing books. I really don't. I'm a mascot. There's a lot of energy in this body right here. Sitting behind a computer writing books is not my idea of a good time. So I don't really like it. You know what I do like? I like giving money to people and organizations that are making a positive impact in the lives of others, especially if that is in the lives of young people or people less fortunate. You know, people ask me this question all the time. Why is a 56-year-old guy still wear a costume for a living? I'm sure my father-in-law thinks that every day. Why the 56-year-old guy still wear a costume? You want to know the answer to that question? Is that picture I showed you a while ago. That picture, that one of me holding hands right there. That picture says it all. You guys, I want my life to make an impact. I want the world to be a better place just because I was here for a short time. I want every person I meet every person to walk away after an encounter with me. I want them to know they're loved. I want them to know they're special. And I want them to know that somebody really does care. Okay? And there's no exceptions to it. So I don't care if they're young or old. I don't care if they're black or white. I don't care what their abilities or disabilities are. I don't care if they voted for Biden or Trump. I don't even care if they speak my language, okay? I want to know somebody cares. You know, I mean, a lot of people in my job, I mean, a whole lot of people, and I know you meet some of these same folks because some of them go to your school, that they go through life and it's almost like their buckets are empty. You know what I'm talking about? They seem discouraged. They seem depressed. They wonder, does my life matter? Does anybody really care? You know what I think that is too often in life, we go through life and we are passionate about things that don't really matter. And then we're passive about those things in this life that really should matter. You want to be a difference maker. You want to make an impact in your home, your school, your community. Here's my challenge to you tonight. Learn to live your life for the things that matter, because it's a rewarding way to live life. It's why I keep doing what I do. I love football. Super Bowl's really cool. Hope to do it again this year so my kids don't have to fight when I die someday. But that's not why I keep doing this job. The reason I keep doing this job is every day I get the opportunity to hopefully make this world just a little bit brighter place for others, just by the way I choose to live life, just by the way I choose to invest my coin. So that's my challenge to you tonight. Take your coin, go out and be an investor, look for opportunities to make an impact in the lives of others. So, hey, I'll close with this tonight. If anybody's interested in books, we're going to have a book table set up out there somewhere afterwards. Books are $12 each if anybody wants a book. We've also got these pictures of K.C. Wolf. Those are free. That means they don't cost any money. You have no excuse not to take one of those with you, okay? But those are free. You also keep seeing me pull this crazy coin out of my pocket. We got these things made a few years ago. On one side of the coin, it's got a picture of K.C. Wolf. It says, "Life's like a coin, spend it wisely." On the back of the coin, it just says, "Rise and shine." So, the books are $12, coins are $3, and we got a special tonight. You can get a book and a coin for $15. Okay? That's just for you folks here in Southeast Missouri. And I want you to know, hey, all the money we make tonight, we're donating it to the, what do they call it, the SEMO Food Bank? I think it's what it's called. It's one of the food banks here in the area. So, all the money goes back to the I do want you to know, I had a lady call me just the other day and told me it's the best book she has ever read. That's my mom. Only person that's told me that. I'm not going to promise you it's the best book you'll ever read. Here's what I will promise you. It's got a lot of pictures in, because some of you don't like to read anyway. And I also promise you, all the money we're making off this stuff, we're just giving it to others that need it a whole lot more. So, anyway, congratulations, all of you. Thank you for putting up with me and letting me talk longer than I was supposed to, probably. Hope you all have a great evening. Thank you.